stops, no one knows. We're going head into the unknown. Na, 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 na.
Hello, 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 everybody. Happy Friday. What is a Friday without some Delphi bullshit to leave us for the weekend? That's kind of how I feel about this. So sorry I was running just a few minutes late. I was trying to get all the documents or screenshots or whatever. I think I got them all. Unfortunately, I haven't had a chance to read them. So we're going to get to do that together. I have seen some clips of or some screenshots of certain parts, but we're going to get to read it all together. So thank you guys for being here. I hope that you guys are having a fantastic Friday. This is an unplanned live, obviously. I didn't know that this was even going to be dropping right when we were going to end the Friday. So here we are. And I don't know if Sleuthy's in chat. Sleuthy, if you're in chat, you're welcome to come up here. Get your butt up here whenever you can. I do have another guest that will be joining us momentarily. There's the goose. There's the goose.
I'm gonna sit in the back because I wanna do something.
Oh, you want to hit the wrong button every time it's
yes,
wrong?
I do. That's what I want. Yes, that's all I want. I'm easy to please.
So that's crazy. Read and Delphi docs in the same day. Did we get new read docs today?
Oh yes.
Did the Commonwealth respond to her motion to dismiss? Fuck me, I haven't even seen that yet.
I think like the Audacity must have gone on sale today for the weekend.
Audacity.
Because all the prosecutors are like out of their minds today.
Okay, I have not read the Commonwealth's response to the motion to dismiss yet, and Karen Reed.
I can send it to you.
So there's, you know what? It seems like there's like a true crime lull, and then it's like I get overloaded in true crime. So I told you guys this the other day. Like, I am very, very invested in the Todd Mullis case. I've waited years for this post-conviction relief to be happening. So I've been in that, but I follow Karen Reed. So then yesterday I was reading the motion to dismiss. Today we've got Delphi. And then oddly enough, like, I am really sucked into this Gene Hackman stuff. I don't know if you guys are following what's going on with Gene Hackman, but like today it like came out that he didn't, like, I don't know, you guys, Gene Hackman, the actor, he's like 95 years old, lives in New Mexico, and they found him, his wife, and one of his 3 dogs deceased in the house.
Like various parts of the house, like of different.
Not in the,
so weird.
Today it came back that they tested negative for carbon monoxide.
Yeah.
So I'm like so invested in this Gene Hackman thing. It's like ridiculous. I don't even know why. Like, I just got sucked into it. And mummified, because they've been dead for like a couple of weeks, but only 1 dog is dead. And then the wife is like dead in the bathroom with a bunch of pills.
And the door was open, wasn't it? Wasn't the door wide open?
So there was kind of some back and forth about the door, because the guy who calls 911 says he won't go in, and that the door's, I don't know if he actually says the door's closed, but there's something weird about like the whole door thing, because then they come and then they say that the door was open. Yeah. So if the door is open, why is there any carbon monoxide?
Well, there wasn't.
Well, we find out there wasn't, but that was kind of like the whole family came out and said that they believed he died from carbon monoxide. And so I'm like, okay, well, but the door's open.
Well, they said like he appeared to have like fallen in the mudroom, which at 90 something isn't like difficult to believe. But Oh. So wait a minute. So this is what's confusing me about that. Shouldn't, if his pacemaker picked up that his heart stopped beating, why did it not like alert 911?
Well, I don't know if it does that.
Well, my friend has like a diabetes thing, and if her blood sugar gets low and she don't tap the thing on her phone, it calls 911. Why wouldn't a pacemaker do the same?
I don't know. The whole thing is fucking weird. So like, I don't be surprised if I end up doing some Gene Hackman lines because like I'm so invested in this.
No,
Like
you
it's
got me on the corn rake thing. I was like, oh, that, I was like, whatever. That like sounds so stupid,
oh,
but my
Michael's here.
God, I'm trapped.
Okay, so Michael's here. Let me say hi to him really quick, but I want to talk about corn rake before we get into Delphi. And did you watch the clip that I sent you where Law and Crime actually had Andy Baldwin on to talk about post-conviction relief
No,
in the corn rake killer case?
I did
I sent you
not.
the clip.
But I have to say, I've been like consumed with the, first of all, it's just bizarre. But second of all, I have never seen like a it's like a post
Rare.
conviction like trial or whatever. It's like,
It's like a 5-day hearing. They have 40 witnesses they're putting on. Hi, Michael.
it's what Michael's going to do for Rick whenever we get there.
Hey there.
Michael, I'm just
How
here
are
to
you?
sit. I'm going to sit backstage because I've
No, you don't need to sit
things to
backstage.
do.
Just stay where you are.
Don't you dare. What you have to say will be much more important than anything I might have to say.
Probably more important than anything I have to say.
The only thing that I came up here to say is this.
Wrong. Okay, so with corn rake, you guys, I told you about this. This is the Todd Mullis case out of Iowa. It happened in November of 2018. I am 100% that he is absolutely factually an innocent person who was immediately locked away and totally railroaded. And if I ever talk to you guys about defendants taking the stand, and I say whether you're innocent or guilty, my opinion, don't take the stand.
Don't do it.
Because Todd Mullis took the stand in his trial, and I actually think he's innocent, but he comes across terrible.
I don't think anything you say or don't say is going to be correct. So you really are better off just being quiet.
Right. So I'm waiting for the end of this post-conviction situation to happen because, hopefully he gets a new trial. So that's number one. But I want to do like a rewind. There's a couple trials that I really want to watch with you guys when true crime's maybe in that lull, and the corn rake killer is one of them. I watched it with my friend Jen Liu on her channel, The Word Case Studies, back in the day when I very first started this channel. But it's a very interesting trial to begin with. It's an interesting case to begin with. There's a ton of info out about it. And then now we have this post-conviction relief. So I'm hoping that maybe we can go back and do like a trial rewind, watch that whole trial together. It's a fascinating case, you guys. I can't even express you.
Can we watch like the whole first trial, the post-conviction thing, and then the new, but my
hopefully
question
get the new trial
for Michael, since he's here, is so if this is his post-conviction bench trial or whatever, does that mean that like if the judge doesn't say that he can have another trial, he's like that's the last thing that he could try to do? Like, is this his last thing he could do?
No.
Is what the last thing he can do?
His post-conviction, like he's in his post-conviction phase now, and they're having a bench trial to see if he can have a new trial. And they're presenting like all the things. Like today was a little boring-ish, but I was also not paying all the attention. But they had like his old trial lawyer on today and was asking questions about things that like he didn't do or didn't say and stuff like that. So it's his post-conviction thing now. He's already done the appeals and stuff from how I understand it.
Such a good case.
Yeah. No, he's got federal habeas available to him after that.
Oh. Okay.
And he had federal habeas available to him before that, but you don't want to do the federal habeas before that unless you have just a killer issue coming out of the direct appeal, because you only get one habeas petition. So you want to wait to be able to bring everything up.
From what I understand, his whole thing, and they had this like doctor on, and she was explaining like all these things about how it was just this bizarro accident, which
yes,
I have to say,
so
like
here's the
weird
craziest
shit.
thing.
Yeah,
I should
but
go
weird shit happens.
channel because the new doctor the one that's, that's for this post-conviction, literally says exactly what I said happened 6 years ago.
I think
Exactly what I said happened.
the biggest and most interesting part of it to me with regard to that is that, like, when they talk about the times, like, coming out and going back in, and about how, like, it wouldn't have happened that way, because, like, apparently, so there's like 4 tines. I might be saying this wrong, but there's like 4 tines on this rake. 2 of them come out fully of her clothes and everything, but 2 of them do not. And if somebody had thwacked her with it, then they would have pulled it completely out and flacked it again. And so the fact that it
Right.
only came
There's
out a
no
little
room
bit.
in that shed. There's no room in that shed for him to have ever for anybody to have swung on her. So and the reason it's fascinating and why I want to talk about it on this live too is because it's very reminiscent of Delphi. So the prosecutor plays an audio from the 911 call where he tells
I
the
haven't heard
jury, the
this.
prosecutor tells the jury that what Todd is saying you can't even understand the damn thing, but he says, they
Oh, so
enhanced
you
it.
can't hear it?
They enhanced it so you could
Oh,
hear
God.
what is said. And he says, so the prosecutor tells the jury that what is being said is "die, you cheating whore."
Yeah.
Well,
I
now we
read that,
come
but
to
I
find
didn't
out
listen.
that it's not even Todd on the 911 call at that point. It's the person doing CPR who says 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh my God. See, I haven't heard it. Oh my God. And that's what happens when you enhance the shit out of things, and then it, like, changes what it is.
Right.
Can I,
It's
can I
what's
tell
it?
you?
Go ahead.
Can I
Sorry.
tell you a quick story on the? So I speak pretty good Polish, and I almost got myself arrested at the airport in Washington because my
Oh my
wife,
God.
my wife who's Polish, was going through the security thing separately, and I was many feet away, and I don't know, holding something up, and I said, you know, could, is this okay? Except that in Polish, it's Mozovich, and the
Uh,
security woman on the other side was, I guess, lip reading and thought I'd called her a bitch.
oh my God. I just said, dude, I didn't give you permission to read my lips.
Give you
In
permission.
Polish, in Polish.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
So,
it's so I hopefully when I can get caught up on because so yesterday I spent some time working on some Idaho 4 stuff with the genealogy and started building my own family tree for Brian Koberger. So I
Oh,
think
thankfully.
that should
And
be
hopefully a
interesting.
diagram of whatever that
I
was that
did.
we read.
So I started on that, but I wanted to highlight some of the stuff in the motions so that I could put it together. So I was working on that yesterday. So I want to get caught up on that. I want to get caught up on Karen Reed because obviously she's going to trial here in a month.
Oh, let me
Well,
send you that before I forget again.
Well, if she absolutely removes Alan Jackson, then they're going to end up postponing the trial. But I don't know. I don't know if that's what's going to happen. Tuesday, Wednesday are hearings for Karen Reed. So I'm just trying to get caught up on some of the current stuff that's happening on trials. But I want to do this trial. This is one of my all-time favorite trials, one of my all-time favorite cases where I absolutely am on board with the fact that he is 100% innocent. This one and Zachariah Anderson, 2 people I believe were absolutely railroaded and found guilty by a jury that I do not think did it. And I think this case, the corn rake case, is very reminiscent of Delphi. And I think the people who follow Delphi will find it fascinating and kind of see what the future holds here. So
And then there was, like, the whole thing about him pulling it out to be able to, like, get her in the
never
truck to first of all, and I'm here to tell you, and I was saying this, like, as I was watching it, because there was this consensus among people who don't know, but there are people that, like, live really far from hospitals, uh, and if there is an emergency, it often is way faster to drive to the hospital yourself rather than wait for an ambulance. Now, if it's like a situation where um someone, like, I'm trying to think of, like, a situation where it would be beneficial for, like, even if they didn't get to the hospital that fast, you could have someone with medical training and medications and stuff to get to them quicker. But like drive it, let's say I don't know about where this place is specifically, but like for me, even if I just drive like out of the holler and meet them like at the interstate, that would even be quicker than waiting for them to get into the holler. And so it's not bizarre to me to that he like pulled, and I also would have pulled out the rake. Well, I probably wouldn't have, because I would have thought that she would have like bled more. Like we just were always told, if there's something sticking out of you, leave it there. And so um I probably wouldn't, but in a panic, who the hell knows? But I absolutely 100% would have threw her in my vehicle and tried to drive to the hospital.
Suthi saying, I was just thinking that, Matt. Holler. Holler. I'd love to see you sing Holla Back Girl.
Oh my gosh. Stop
Holler back, girl. Anyway, so I think I got everything for Delphi, and I'm sure you guys will tell me if I missed something. So we don't really have a lot of PDFs today, I guess, because I got a bunch of screenshots.
Oh, I could check my email to see if
I have the PDF.
I'll send them
Do
to
you?
her so they're easier to see, please.
That would be great if you could, because yeah, the screenshots always end up just kind of a pain in the ass, and then I have to make sure they're in the right order.
And they're blurry.
Hang on. Hang
Can you
on.
throw a picture of the corn rake? I can, yes. I have a whole file on Todd Mullis I can show you. I really just wish I had been paying more attention. I did not put Todd Mullis on my trial watch, so I don't like go through and get updates all the time. I really wish I had paid attention that they had scheduled his post conviction, because I would have absolutely watched the trial with you guys beforehand, because it's such a fascinating case.
So I got so I have everything but Exhibit 4, which, so I just sent it, Sleuthie.
Okay.
You know where.
Let me get this to come up real quick, so I'll show you guys the corn rake.
Yeah, show them the corn rake.
I'm going to show them the corn rake. I'm going to show them the corn rake. I'm going to do it, Sleuthie.
Teresa, where do you want this?
Messenger would be great, because I already have you up. So this is the corn rake. This is the corn rake when it's found in the shed. Oh, Shiloh. Oh man, it's so interesting. If Shmita's still in here, Shmita watched it with me when we went through it years ago. She's sus of the son, but I don't know about that.
Wasn't he a kid or no? Like I thought he was
he was like a preteen. He was like 13, I think, if memory serves. He was like a preteen.
I'm not really sus on him, but I also don't really know.
Oh, see, I feel like it's just it was a freak farming accident that she just was dizzy, fell over, and landed on it, and then tried to get herself up, or tried to get herself off of it, and then couldn't. All right, they should be coming through right now. Oh, this is perfect. Thank you, Michael. This will be way easier.
Law license has to be good for something, right?
You're good for quite a few things, I say.
I say so as well.
Okay, so that's.
I'm sending the exhibits now.
Okay, so that one, the other one was the Commonwealth. Never mind.
That I think that's the only thing that you're lacking, right? Is the
for Karen Reed. Yeah, I don't have that.
And then exhibit 1.
I'm telling you, I don't know how people do like YouTube like all the time. Like I don't know how they like, as much as I've done YouTube recently, my whole like regular life I feel like is so far behind that I don't know how people do this all the time. Like they're just, I'm like, I'm My laundry, even though it's folded, is still not put away from last weekend. Like, that's how bad life gets. Okay,
I'll tell you what, these sick days, like,
Go ahead.
no, these sick days that I have now, like, just kill me. I mean, they throw me off for the whole week. I've been here since July, and last week, I'm lying. That one time where I was dying, like, right after Thanksgiving, one day I didn't make my bed. And then last week or 2 weeks, or I guess it was, no, this was just a couple of days ago. Whatever day I told you I didn't feel good, we went live, I think.
Oh yeah, Wednesday.
Yeah, I didn't make my bed that day either. And I'll tell you what, it makes me, what is that sound? Is that me?
That's you. Or not me. I don't know. Maybe it's Michael.
It makes me like feel unaccomplished. Like, it doesn't matter what all I do that day. If I don't make my bed, like when I went to get in my bed that night, I was like, ew, gross. I can't believe I didn't do that. So it takes 2 seconds. But like, I was fighting not to throw up. So.
Hold on. You guys want to see?
Did you not show them the corn rake yet?
I did.
Oh.
It's up right now.
Well, I can't see it. I'm sending you these.
I was going to show him.
Also, Zach,
Zachariah Anderson.
no, the other one.
Zach
the rose
Hughes.
petal one. Yep. 100% thumb toe material.
Did you see that on Twitter?
As soon as I saw that, I thought, oh my God, they're right. It does look like a thumb toe. I always thought he was ugly. Like, weird looking.
Oh, he is weird looking. Here's a side view of the corn rake. I'll show you guys that.
Did you happen to catch a screenshot of the demonstrative thing that they put up where it was like a photo, not like a real photo, but like a diagram of a torso with the
I have her pictures.
Oh wait, her actual ones?
Yeah.
I mean, this corn rake, like the tines on the corn rake, I don't know, but based off of that diagram, they went like all the way through her, like her whole torso. And people can live through that, like to then try to get off of it and then not be able
Well,
to.
yeah, if she's not fully impaled, it's just something that hurts her, and then she gets up. We'll get into Delphi just a second. I'm downloading all the exhibits that Sleuthy's sending, or Michael sent Sleuthy and Sleuthy's sending me. So they're downloading. But man, this case, Hey Alex, no, we're talking about the corn rake killer case for just a hot minute, just because it's such an interesting case.
Michael saved us from having to use a bunch of screenshots, and
yeah,
so she wasn't prepared for this.
Yeah, I wasn't prepared to actually have things easier. I did not steal the photos from defense counsel. They were public. They were public after the first trial.
Oh, they didn't leak them to you either?
No, I did not have. I have no contact with anybody on the defense team. The first or the second round, even though the first round, that guy's a fucking doofus. So.
Okay, I think that's it. So the motion or the response and 3 exhibits.
Okay, so we just don't have 4, which I think I have screenshots for, but I should have screenshots for. Okay. Hold on.
You haven't read these, or you have?
No, I just saw the little screenshots that people were putting in the chat.
Hmm.
We'll have to do a whole Todd Mullis thing because it's just I mean, there's so much info I can share with you guys.
Carla, what was interesting was one of the things that Hella, I'll send them to you. One of the things that oh my gosh, that is like that. First of all, I'll just say I've never seen anybody use that for corn. I'm not sure why it's a corn rake. I've seen them use it for hay.
Yeah, it's like a hay thing. You
that
guys,
makes me
I don't. Do you want to see the photos or no?
Let me send these to Hella before I forget again.
Okay. All right. I mean, we'll just do a whole corn rig thing because
I think we really should because it's super interesting.
I have so much. I have so much info. I have so much info.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think we should.
All right. We'll just plan that.
Hella, do you have the response to the? Do you have Nick's response and you just need the exhibits?
Okay. So I have which one? I think this is 3, 2. Okay. There's the response. There's 1. Let me pull up 2, and we should be ready to rock and roll.
Can you hear my clock?
No.
Good.
I was like, I've been asleep, then streaming about Luigi.
Oh, I have nothing. Okay.
Yeah, we'll definitely do some Mullis stuff. We'll do some Mullis stuff just because, like I said, it's just such a fascinating case anyway. Okay, so I think we're prepped and ready to go. So thank you guys for your patience. I know that took a while. I'll probably have to do like some time stamping on this. So no, I have not read this. I have only seen the mini screenshots where people were like pointing out certain things that were said. Other than that, I have not read the thing in its entirety. I have not read the exhibits, nothing. I just Glenda. Okay, so here we go. So if you guys could stop me at any time if you have something that you want to say, by all means, or Sleuthy, you can just throw up the wrong whenever you want to. So thank you guys for being here. We're going to get into Delphi now. So this is the state's response to the defendant's motion to preserve and produce specific evidence. So now comes the state of Indiana by prosecuting attorney Nicholas C. McClelland and respectfully ask the court to deny the defendant's verified motion to preserve and produce specific evidence and their motion to set this matter for a hearing in their entirety. The state would ask the court to consider the following. That as the court, so you guys remember Andy had to come back and put in his appearance again because she keeps booting him off of there. And then he's like, no, I want these specific things to be preserved. And then, she's like, no way, ain't going to happen. Too bad, premature. It is what it is. So
can I point something out at the beginning?
Absolutely.
People should look for. There's a word missing in the title of this motion, and it's called verified.
Never. It's never verified.
Apparently, Nick McClelland didn't get the lesson from the motion to strike that if he's going to testify, he needs to sign these things, verify them, and sign them under penalty for perjury.
Oh, he would never do that, Michael.
I don't think has he ever done that with anything?
No. Not that like anybody would actually like hold him to that penalty, but I think just for the sake of just in case someone actually decided to, he wouldn't. I'm sorry. I think he's a maniacal, just untruthful, schemy and slippery and oily man.
I'll only go so far as to say it's lazy, but it could be all of the above.
Well,
I expect you to be
I'll add on that.
You have to have more couth, Michael. I don't have to have any couth.
Yeah, I don't have to have any either. I used to actually like be unbiased towards Nick. I didn't care.
You're sleuthy and not couthy?
No, I have zero couth. That's why Bob used to like being my best friend, because I could say things that he can't.
Okay, so number 1, that as the court has already outlined in its February 14th, 2025 order, that there is no authority for the defense to request that the evidence be preserved by the state, and the state would ask the court to deny the same. Number 2, that the defense in their motion also asked the state to produce specific evidence demonstrating exculpatory evidence for the defendant. Number 3, that the state has outlined this in its previous filings, but discovery is evidence in a case that the state intends to use at trial or evidence that tends to exonerate the defendant, referred to as exculpatory evidence. Not all information gathered in an investigation is discovery. You guys have any comments on the first three?
They're coming.
I don't know. It's like, most prosecutors around the state, there are a few counties that don't, but most prosecutors around the state have what are known as open file policies, which is to say, we'll give you everything we have. And, it's really disingenuous of him to say that because, of course, they turned over a whole bunch of, the defense has something like 20 terabytes of data that they've turned over. They didn't even use much of the 25 terabytes of data. But they turned it over as what? Discovery. So why are we suddenly picking and choosing?
Well, only he's picking and choosing, because he gets to pick what's exculpatory and what's not. And so if it's not discovery and he didn't use it at trial and he doesn't think that it is exculpatory to Richard Allen, then he thinks he doesn't have to turn it over.
Well,
But
I'm
the
making
defense
a
has to
different
turn over
point.
everything.
I'm making, let's set aside whether it's exculpatory or not. We'll get to the letters eventually. I'm making a different point, and that is he turned over as discovery a whole bunch of stuff that doesn't fit his description there.
Right.
So what's this about? In other words, what else has he not turned over? And frankly, that, what else is there he hasn't turned over that is in fact exculpatory? Yes, the prosecutors get to decide that, and we can get to there's actually a local rule. Don't just have Brady obligations under the Constitution. There's actually a local rule that says you got to turn over all exculpatory evidence.
So what do you think about this part where he says that the defense has no authority to be requesting this? Can we talk about that?
I can't tell if he's trying to say that they didn't write under what authority she has to order the state to preserve it, or if he's just flat out trying to say that they have no authority to ask for them to preserve anything. The first one I could understand. The second one sounds absurd.
Hang on. You all talk among yourselves while I quickly pull up the Carroll County local rules.
Okay.
Okay. I'll keep reading, and then he'll pop back in. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
R&M, you did an anaphylaxis and hung out in the ER last night?
Oh, yeah. She's like part of the EpiPen crew now.
Oh, I don't know.
What were you allergic to?
She has no idea. I told her she should be spending her time today figuring that out, because that's kind of important. Also, not for nothing, her lips looked kind of good.
She'll probably have to go have an allergy test if it's not something in particular that will like jump out. Like if she didn't eat like shellfish and then get puffy, you know what I mean? Like they'll have to go and do the allergy test where they put all the little pins on you with all the different stuff and then see which one reacts.
Yeah. And also people don't realize that you can end up allergic to things that you were never allergic to before. So
yeah.
Including medicines.
Speaking of allergies, and I'm going to go back to reading so people don't get too pissed. But my nephew was allergic to peanuts. His whole life he's been allergic to peanuts. And now they have this whole protocol thing where they can train your body to not be allergic. And so now at 15, he's no longer allergic to peanuts.
Yeah, it's great. Basically what they do is they give you allergy shots, and they just expose you to a little bit of it each time.
Each ingredient, and you have to eat that ingredient for X amount of days, and then you have to eat the next ingredient, and then they put like some ingredients together. I was like, that is some crazy shit. So now he's like no longer allergic to peanuts.
It's actually, they actually now, like, I sometimes fill in for allergy and asthma, and I don't like to because I'm sorry. Like my brother saw allergy and asthma up till he was a teenager, and then all of a sudden he had no allergy or asthma. And he did the shots, but like, not for nothing. The allergy and asthma crew has everything wrong with them. They take all the medicines, they have all the problems. And so I don't often like to do it. But the doctor that I help with, she is a big firm, like you should not avoid, like when kids are smaller, you should not avoid foods that you think they had a bad reaction to or they don't like, because that's how they develop allergies to foods such as peanuts.
Oh, that's so crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, so sorry, side conversation. Okay, so back to this.
So,
So number 4.
so I have the local rules.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
And you know, he says there's no authority, and that's just, I mean, these are the local rules of his own damn court. And it says, upon the entrance of an appearance by an attorney for a defendant or defendant's pro se written appearance, the state shall disclose and furnish all relevant items and information under this rule to the defendant within 30 days from the date of the appearance, subject to constitutional limitations and such other limitations as the court may specifically provide by separate order. And the defense shall disclose, et cetera, et cetera. It says no written motion is required except to compel compliance under this rule for additional discovery not covered under this rule, for a protective order, blah, blah, for an extension of time. And then in 3, this is local rule 08 CR00. So this is a criminal rule 18A, and 18A 3 says, although each side has a right to full discovery under the terms of this rule, each side has a corresponding duty to seek out the discovery. Failure to do so may result in the waiver of the right to full discovery under this rule. And it also says that the party, and this is subsection 5, the party at seeking disclosure or a protective order under this rule shall include in the party's motion or request a statement showing that the attorney making the motion or request has made a reasonable effort to reach agreement with opposing counsel concerning the matter set forth in the motion's request. And, you know, has to recite the date, time, and place of this effort. You know, whether it was by person or in telephone, and the court may deny a discovery motion filed by a party who has failed to comply with the requirements of this subsection. Andy Baldwin included in his request that he attempted to get in touch with McClellan by email, and, you know,
Twice.
Yeah, and McClellan basically told him to take a hike. You know, if this isn't authority to make the request, I don't know what is. And now we're going to go down to this is 18B, and in 18B2 it says the state shall disclose to the defense any material or information within its possession or control that tends to negate the guilt of the accused as to the offenses charged, or would tend to reduce the punishment for such offenses.
Ooh.
Tends. That's the local rule.
Tens is a big deal right there.
Yeah.
Not even would. You know
No.
what I mean? Tens.
No.
is way
And
looser than would.
well, I'm sorry. I mean, it's just, it's kind of like I said. I think it might be like something I said earlier, since everything I seem to say seems to be like something I said earlier, and that is, yeah, McClellan's response to Andy Baldwin was just unprofessional in my view, and I don't say that lightly. It's you tell you know, opposing counsel, oh, oops, sorry, I do have these. Here they are. Oops, I don't know what you're talking about. Or let me go and check and I'll get back to you in a minute. You don't tell them to go pound sand.
So do these rules that you're reading right now, do they change anything based on the fact that it's post conviction, like he's already convicted? So is Nick trying to state like the defense no longer has the authority to request this information?
His
Or
obligations are his obligations. And to be
Dude.
I'm just
honest,
trying to figure out where he's coming up with the fact that they don't have authority. Like, I mean, obviously the defense team would have authority to request evidence be preserved, right? Like, what, I don't know why.
well, that's
I
why
guess
I wonder if what he really means is that they didn't list the authority. Because I don't think they did, because I think any normal person was like, he should already know this. Like they didn't cite trial rule, local rule, whatever. And maybe that's what he's really just playing off of what Gull said. That's the problem. He's just simply saying what she said.
well,
I mean, I'm not looking at the chat. I think Travis is in there. I mean, ask Travis to comment. Am I misrepresenting something here?
Actually, I think Travis is in Texas, and I think Texas is, because we've talked about this before, I think that's one of the actual like open file states. I know there's not many, but I'm pretty sure that's one of them where they basically just turn over literally everything they have. And to be quite honest, I would think that it would. So it's like a double-edged sword, right? So it's going to dump a lot of stuff on defense. But at the same time, then the prosecutor doesn't have to worry about not having turned something over because literally everything gets turned over. And then on the flip side, the defense is like, well, at least we know we have it all. You know what I mean?
Let's go down. So to your question, let's go down to subsection E. Subsection E, duty to supplement responses. The state and the defense are under a continuing duty to supplement the discovery disclosures required hereunder as required upon the acquisition of additional information or materials otherwise required to be disclosed hereunder. Supplementation of disclosures shall be made within a reasonable time after the obligation to supplement arises.
Yeah. So, yeah.
so therefore he can ask for it, and he does have the authority.
Absolutely, and it is.
It's absurd to suggest otherwise, really.
It really is, and it's. I don't know. I've never seen someone say, "Oh, you've got no authority to demand even something that tends to be exculpatory." I mean, it's.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have to say I'm getting really tired of like writing things up and then Nick doing his responses based on whether it's Gull's email and now it's her premature orders and those things, and then he just essentially just goes, "Thank you, Judge Gull," and I'll just copy and paste what you say because I didn't know what to say. Like that's where I fall in with like what Nick does in his responses to the defense.
Anyway, I think we, yeah, those are local rules. The trial rules aren't much different, frankly, and I haven't looked at the criminal rules about this recently, but and then there's the Constitution, and I'm just telling you, a professional prosecutor who isn't getting caught with his pants down, or even if he's getting caught with his pants down, is going to fess up and say, "Oops, I had these, and I'm so sorry. Let's see, how can we handle this?"
Well, he's basically saying, "Oops, I did have it, but it literally doesn't matter because it wouldn't have been helpful for you guys at all."
Yeah,
anyway.
it was my toy, and I didn't have to play with it with you.
Yeah. That's a good. I can't wait for that meme to come out. That's perfect.
That's what I used to say. I'm taking my toys and going home. They're my toys. I don't have to play with you. Okay, so number 4 I find extremely interesting. And it's actually very simple, but it says that most of what Ricci Davis told attorney Andrew Baldwin is false.
So?
Therefore, some of it is true.
But also, it doesn't fucking matter. That's literally not the point.
But most of it's false, so therefore none of it matters.
Well, this is just like when
according to Nick.
remember when he responded to the Frank's memo? He did
Yeah.
the exact same thing.
Yeah, so therefore, some of it is true. This is my way of saying that, yes, some of that is actual information that's factual, but I'm not going to tell you that. I'm going to just go ahead and go with the negative of it. This is why I think that Nick is an ultimate manipulator, gaslighter.
Mm-hmm.
So, number 5, that attorney Andrew Baldwin had an opportunity to quote-unquote fact check the information that Ricci Davis provided to him, but instead chose to put the information in a public motion without verifying its truthfulness. I find this ironic because we just talked about this. He tried to get a hold of Nick and said, hey, I just talked to this guy. He's saying he sent you these letters. Did you get letters? If you did, can you let me know? And Nick's like, too bad. So sad. You had your chance at Ricci, and, your guy's guilty. Go on with your life.
Yep.
Well,
So-
it's even worse. It's even worse than that because I think there are 2 parts of this. He's done the too bad, so sad, you had your chance with Ricci about the March 2017 interview and what Ricci told Andy in, I don't know, March of this year when Andy visited him.
Mm-hmm.
But he never had the chance to fact check what was in the letters because he never saw them.
Right. Well, meaning Andy, instead of wasting time trying to fact check the things that Ricci was telling him in person that he might not be remembering correctly, versus getting the actual letters themselves and verifying the information that he gave previously, which he couldn't do because Nick didn't give it to him.
That's right. And without the letters, frankly, fact checking. When we get to the letters, I think Ricci says some things that are a little bit different from what's in his affidavit that Baldwin filed,
Mm-hmm.
and he says a few things that are a little different from what he said in March 2017, or May, late April, whenever it was, Logan was allegedly confessing to him. But if you don't have all of it, you don't even know what to fact check.
Mm-hmm.
And setting this new stuff aside, the reason all of this is so compelling and so important are 2 things. This is just what I think, right? And people can have wildly different ideas about this. But there are 2 reasons this stuff of Ricci Davis's is incredibly important. The first is in May of 2017, when his girlfriend first sent the tip in, and it ended up in the tip database. Ricci Davis is saying, Ron Logan told me he used the box cutter and he cut the arteries. Nobody knew how those girls had died in 2019 and in 2017. Hannah Shakespeare's documentary has, I forget who it was. It might have been Anna Williams, and who was sort of upset that she didn't even know how her child had died 2 years later.
I think it was Carrie.
Carrie, because Carrie didn't even really know anything.
They wouldn't tell her.
Yeah. It could have been Carrie. But people didn't know how the girls had died. There was no death certificate. There was no. It's just
even their family.
Right. And here is Ricci Davis reciting in the tip file in 2017, that they were exsanguinated, that their throats were cut. So the second thing that makes it incredibly important is, for the first time, 7 years later, court at trial says, oh gosh, could have been a box cutter. Ricci Davis had Ron Logan saying box cutter for anybody could have known about box cutters.
Mm-hmm. Point is, even if the box cutter thing wasn't, it doesn't matter. I'm of the opinion that it doesn't even matter if the shit that he's saying is true or not.
In a way, it does and it doesn't. I mean, yes, it look.
If you're trying to solve the crime, it would be.
And here's why. I'll explain why you're absolutely right, Felicity, and you already know why you're absolutely right. And that is because when it comes to the third party hearing, Judge Gall had already excluded, Logan was at the end of the list, I think, and, can't get him in. And, whether the box cutter is true or not, Core said it. And, if box cutter plus confession isn't enough to get Ron Logan's alleged confession to Ricci Davis in, I don't know what is. I mean, I don't know what more you'd need. It's McClelland's point about the third party stuff, that if we can prove to you, Judge, that it wasn't these people who confessed, then this evidence doesn't come in. And that's just not the standard. It's a really low standard to get third party evidence in. I've seen some people say, oh, it's a really high standard. No, it's not. And, the fact that the prosecution, if the prosecution wants to prove that, Ron Logan could not have done it, then, that he's free to do that in front of the jury. And so this additional stuff, because, Ricci's story, as I understand it, and people are free to correct me, everything, as my favorite guy recently, to the point, likes to say, everything is alleged. That Logan's story changed over time. First, it was just him alone, and then it was with somebody else, namely Keegan Kline, and actually also with a third person. And that's fine. And then we have these letters, and all of this could have changed the third party analysis. The defense lawyers could have moved again to at least get the Logan confessions in there. There's investigation they could have done. I don't know where that would have led. This is important stuff. I mean, any professional prosecutor would have turned this over. I mean, even I think the date on one letter is like the 24th of October. When did the trial start? The 18th?
Mm-hmm.
14th? I mean, I think one of the letters was even sent during trial. They've got a continuing duty to turn these over. If the defense had gotten one of these letters during trial, they could have said, stop the presses. We got to look into this.
Right. Okay, so I'll just keep reading. Okay, so number 6, that the state contacted the Department of Corrections and had the department send a list of all outgoing mail from Ricci Davis to the Carroll County Prosecutor's Office. Said list herein attached as State's Exhibit 1. And
that's totally unreliable, and for two reasons. One, the DOC is unreliable. Two, the only thing that they would have recorded was anything that Ricci sent out legal mail, and he might have sent other, and he could have sent other letters, not legal mail. And so, and by the way, it's still an unverified motion, and here he's testifying about what he did and what the response was,
with no affidavits of who actually gave him any of this information or how authentic or accurate it actually is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it would be okay for me if he just said, I swear under penalty for perjury that I wrote to the DOC and these are the records they sent me.
Doesn't seem like too much trouble for most people.
It's literally it's literally a macro in the in my Word document. It's literally a macro, like verify. I affirm under penalty for perjury the foregoing representations are true.
I'll be honest, I thought that was like a requirement for these filings. It should be.
It kind of is if you're testifying in front of the court. I mean, it's just, and the fact that it's not verified is actually an incredibly good reason to have a hearing.
But Gold's like, oh no, it's okay, Nikki. You wrote exactly what I wanted you to, so we did good. We did good there. So my problem here, once again, I'm going to go back into this weird way that Nick likes to give information, is by saying, oh look, here there were letters, but there weren't as many as you say there are, so it doesn't. So you're lying and you're not telling the truth. Like, to gaslight that, like, look, see, the defense isn't telling the truth. Like, there wasn't all these letters that they keep insinuating that there was. There's only these letters, but then you just say that there are actual fucking letters. Like, you just admitted that there's letters that you never gave to anybody.
Yeah.
Well, and there is good reason to believe that there were in fact more letters.
Oh, I believe that. I absolutely believe that. But but my whole point is that he's still saying that there are letters.
Yeah,
He's trying to gaslight the public into that. See, it's not as big of a deal as they try to make it, even though I lied or I did not hand over this material when I should have. And I think you said it earlier, like, they gave tons of info over that had nothing to do with anything. We all know that they got this video where the cop's body cam and is going in and somebody's dead on the floor. It has nothing to do with nothing.
He's kind of like the dog who can talk, who says, yeah, I know I pooped on the couch, but it didn't get onto the floor, so I'm not, I haven't been bad.
Oh my God.
I mean, I guess that's a good analogy. Yeah, there's letters, but they weren't important, so don't listen to them saying that there was letters, because that's not important. So this is Exhibit 1. I just wanted to kind of show you guys. I mean, it's not... most of it's... You don't even know what's redacted, because there is nobody telling you, we redacted XYZ because it was this. So we don't even know if any of the stuff that's redacted is actually important.
No, but let's give it. I think he redacted out the stuff that we don't know. That's for sure. And and what I'd do if I were a prosecutor and doing this, I'd file it this way, and I'd send the original to the defense, saying just so you can see, the stuff I redacted was totally irrelevant.
Let's hope that that's what he did, but I doubt it. I don't trust him. So I mean, I can't. There's no. I used to give a lot of benefit of the doubt here, and I don't. I just can't. I do not believe anything that comes out of this guy's mouth. I just don't trust him. And I know you can keep your couth, but I don't. I just don't. I don't believe this guy. I think he's a liar, and I think he tries to gaslight the public into thinking that he's some good guy that's in doing everything for the benefit of the patties. It's the craziest shit to me. But neither here nor there. Okay, so let's keep going. Number 7, that as the court can see from the list, Ricci Davis did not send the 8 letters. He only sent 3. One letter is October 4th of 2025. I'm going to go with that's October of 2024, since he can't send letters in the future. One letter is October 15th of 2025. Again, future. And one letter is October 21st of 2024. All during or very near the trial of the state of Indiana versus Richard Allen.
Yeah, absolutely. And so what?
Yeah, no big deal. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I mean, who cares that he sent these letters, right? No big deal. The defense team
Well,
doesn't
but who cares? What I'm saying, why why does it matter that it was before trial? I mean, right near or during the trial. I mean, turn them over. I mean, they found out during trial about the broken belt, for God's sakes.
That the state was able to recover 2 of the 3 letters sent from Ricci Davis. The letter sent on October 4th, 2025, and the letter sent on October 21st of 2025. Herein attached as State's Exhibit 2 and 3. All right. I'm going to keep reading this, and then we'll go back and we'll read the letters. So number 9, that the letters sent by Ricci Davis are not exculpatory for Richard Allen and therefore are not evidence or discovery. That the letters, in fact, accuse Richard Allen of committing the murders. It is not exculpatory evidence for Richard Allen. It is inculpatory evidence for Richard Allen. Now, please tell me that if he considers it inculpatory evidence for Richard Allen, why in the world does he think that it would not be relevant to turn over to the defense team?
Well, under the local rule, you only have to turn over stuff you intend to use at trial. But I think the answer is that the defense has to be able to investigate it, because there's stuff in those letters that is also exculpatory. So you don't get to pick and choose. If there's an inculpatory statement in there, that doesn't render the entire letter inculpatory.
Well, he's also given the defense shit for not verifying the information, but doesn't give them the information to be able to verify.
Yeah, exactly. It's through the looking glass. And it's really bad lawyering, frankly. He's been caught. I mean, this is the child making excuses when they've been caught.
Yeah, I mean, he admits to it, but
go ahead.
He's just missing the point. Like, he's admitted to it, but he's missing the point of why his excuse doesn't matter. Because the point of the matter is that he's admitting he got the letters. He didn't turn them over.
But if his statement here is legally sound, the rest of this document doesn't matter.
What do you mean?
Well, if the defense has no authority to be requesting any of this evidence be preserved, then what does it matter whether he got letters or not?
Yeah.
So why would he even be arguing the point that, oh, I did get these letters, but we only got these, and these are the dates that we got them, and why would we even be arguing the next part of it's exculpatory or inculpatory if his whole legal basis is the defense doesn't even have the authority to even be asking me for these things, so just deny it.
Well, so lawyering, if Travis is in the chat, I'm not watching the chat, but if Travis is in the chat, give me a thumbs up, Travis, if you agree with me that lawyering would be over without the expression "even if." He doesn't say in as many words, but you say you don't have, there's no authority to ask for them, but then you say even if there is authority, they lose for these reasons.
Okay, I see what you're saying. So even if you want to say that they do have the right to, or they do have the legal standing to be requesting that these be preserved, I'm going to tell you why you should still say no.
Yeah, and you give the court as many possible different reasons to deny whatever the other side wants as you can, and let the court pick and choose.
Okay. So let me go back to this exculpatory, because this was at Anja's point in chat. So if saying that it's not exculpatory because it includes Richard Allen, but the state's theory is that Richard Allen acted alone, then does it not automatically become exculpatory because the state's, would it affect the state's theory legally? Like, would it make it exculpatory because the state's theory is that he did it by himself, and these are saying, no, he didn't do it by himself. There's other people involved.
Right, and they that's right, and so the defense never had the opportunity to prove, for example, that there's absolutely no connection between Ron Logan and Richard Allen, or Keegan Kline and Richard Allen, and so, you know, any accusation that includes Richard Allen is just ridiculous, and the state would have been putting on an entirely different case, even if the state would have been putting on an entirely different case that the defense might have defended entirely differently. No, you make an excellent point, Teresa, that I really hadn't thought about, and that is that there's an entirely different theory of the case happening here, and like the world would have been completely different at trial.
And would these letters have been enough of a nexus for the defense to bring in third party?
You know, we'll have to get to the letters. I read the letters, and I read the 2 letters that are in there in a huge hurry. I have a hot take on them, but I have a long history of bad hot takes.
Okay, all right, let me keep reading then. Okay, so number 10, that the letter dated October 4th of, I'm just going to say 2024, is titled Information on Keegan Kline and Richard Allen. The letter goes on to implicate Richard Allen in the murders, stating that he set up the meeting with the girls. He is the one that killed the youngest girl, and that once the girls were killed, Richard Allen moved the bodies. Okay, number 11.
We know that didn't happen.
Right. That in the letter dated October 21st of 2024, Ricci Davis states that Ron Logan, Keegan Kline, and Richard Allen are responsible for the murders. He goes on to state that attorney Andrew Baldwin is an ignorant lawyer. Oh, I bet Nick was fucking happy to write this. Ignorant lawyer who was hinting me to lie for him and his client, saying that I should know how it is. Number 12, that although the state has diligently searched all the evidence involved in this case, the state cannot locate or verify that the second letter sent from Ricci Davis was received by this office.
What?
Because he's saying that they only found 2 of the 3.
Are you only just now hearing that, Michael?
No, I know they're saying they can only find 2 of the 3. No, I know they're saying they only got 2 of the 3, but isn't he saying, what's he saying again? We can't prove that we can't verify that we actually got it?
Yeah.
Right, the one on October 15th, the second. So he says October 15th, October 21st. They found these 2, but not this one.
So what he's saying is this: we've got the information that there were 3 letters from the DOC records. We can only find 2 of them. It's not from their own records, it's from the DOC records. We can only find 2 of the 3 in the DOC records, and we can date those because of the dates they were sent. So we can't verify that we ever got the second letter. Okay.
Correct.
The problem with this is what's the date on the first letter?
October 4th.
Yeah.
October 4th, October 15th, and October 21st.
Yeah, Ricci's also saying, by the way, he wrote in 2017 to the prosecutor, probably to Ives.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and they don't pull anything from the DOC from back then. It's just the recent ones. When they know they did get letters, that's all he's pulled the dates for on that exhibit. Because
and by the way, in fairness, and look, the uncle only said, and so the uncle only said that he talked to the secretary there, who said that the letters, they'd received several letters, and that's really interesting because if he called, I mean, I'm going to suggest to Andy that he see if he can get the call records from the uncle. about when he called, but secretary said that they'd been turned over to the people investigating the case. I think that's an actual quote. And
Who's that, Mullen?
yeah, who knows? I mean, it might have been gone to Mullen, might have gone, I don't know what their, information flow was. And it may well be that none of the lawyers knew anything about these letters.
Because it went to the investigator. But
Right.
doesn't isn't that still Nick's, like, if it's in the care of like law enforcement, isn't that also considered in the care of Nick? Because they're all the state.
Yeah, there's a case called absolutely, as far as their Brady obligations go. The prosecutors are charged with knowledge of what law enforcement has, at least what their law enforcement has. I think Travis would know better. I don't know if, for instance, Nick would be charged with knowledge of what the FBI has. I doubt it. But all I'm saying is, before anybody jumps to conclusions that Nick's hiding the ball, the ball may have been hidden from him.
But then why did he this way, though?
Well, the whole thing's, as I said at the beginning, the whole thing's unprofessional. I mean, you get the email from Andy Baldwin, you go say, you might say, first I've ever heard of this. Let me go look and find out, and I'll get back to you. That's not what he said. It was go pound sand.
Right. I mean, that's why I'm inclined to believe that he did know, but
You all I'm saying is that you don't have
I
the
would have been like,
facts.
this is outrageous. I'm gonna hunt them down right now. I'll let you know as soon as I find out who has them.
Yeah, a professional prosecutor. If I hadn't heard anything about them, and I were the prosecutor, I would be really mad and I would be finding out who the hell didn't get these to me right away.
Yep. That's what
If it's Mullen, they're like, no, just make him the Delphi chief of police again.
Yeah, exactly.
People fuck up in Delphi and they get promoted. That's what happens around those parts.
They really do. It's bizarre.
Well, even happens in the state police,
Yep. All of them.
Certain sergeant became a certain lieutenant.
He doesn't even know what probable cause is.
Doesn't even fucking that drives me insane. The guy doesn't know what probable cause is. Okay. Here's okay. So number 12. That although the state has we already did that one. So number 13. That James Winters did call the prosecutor's office on October 15th of 2024 and near October 21st of 2024 to verify that the office had received the letters sent by Ricci Davis. However, at the time, he did not indicate how many letters that Ricci Davis sent or when he sent them. He just called to confirm that the state had received some letters from Ricci. Further, he indicated to his office that both Keegan Klein and Ricci Davis had been subpoenaed by the defense to testify at the trial against Richard Allen. Okay.
Well, I don't know about the subpoenas, but the business about his calling and only specifying that some letters had been sent, I think, is entirely consistent with his affidavit that Andy filed.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what Hayes is trying to make out of that.
Well, I think he's leading into his argument about how, like, see, they already had it set up to use him or whatever, and then they decided not to, and that was their decision.
But I don't know why this matters in this context.
Shouldn't really surprise anybody that it doesn't make any sense.
Well, it's just information that it's irrelevant in my opinion. I don't know what does that have to do with anything.
Hard to tell.
Okay, so number 14, that the state's response to the motion to correct error, the state referred to the evidence that Ricci Davis supplied to attorney Andrew Baldwin as not matching the physical evidence found at the scene. The state therefore finds the information that Ricci Davis supplied is not credible. Okay.
That's not for him to decide. and he doesn't specify how it doesn't match. And you know what? It matches a bit, and it matches and it doesn't match in other ways. And we can talk about that and investigate that. And this is Nick McClelland. This is Nick McClelland doing, if it doesn't, evidence doesn't matter.
Yeah, but Richard Allen said a bunch of shit that didn't fit the evidence either, and like that mattered.
Yeah. Yeah.
I still don't think he even knows where the crime scene was, to be honest with you.
I guess I'm super confused because in his response to the motion to correct error, Nick is the one that says things that don't add up. He's the one who says that Abby's clothes or that girl's clothes were burned in the fire pit. He's the one who talks about the iPhone, the battery being taken out of the...
Yeah.
Has he made any comment about that yet, about where he got that information?
Well, no, but I'm just saying, like, he's saying that what Davis told Baldwin doesn't match the physical evidence. But in his response, he's not stating that. He's stating the information that isn't in the motion to correct error isn't relevant. Do you see what I'm saying here? Mm-hmm. What he said doesn't actually match the physical evidence, not what Ricci told Baldwin.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I mean, he can't keep the facts straight.
It's because he's not talking about really any of the actual facts.
Yeah, he's quoting his own wrong shit.
Yep.
Okay, number 15, that there is zero evidence found in the investigation that Ron Logan and Keegan Kline knew each other or shared or exchanged child pornography.
Yeah, and how would he know that?
I was just getting ready to say that, Michael. Did he go look at all of the Keegan Kline stuff to determine that in about an hour? Did he just ask somebody and they were like, oh, no? Because never mind, they let that delinquent run free and get additional victims for multiple years before anybody decided to arrest him, even though they had the evidence they needed to do so. What was it, 3 years?
Yeah, he's not the prosecutor on Keegan Kline's
No,
case.
so he wouldn't.
But even so, even when they were looking at Keegan Kline for the Delphi murders, okay. Okay, number 16, that the state was able to obtain recent communications between Keegan Kline and various civilians where Keegan Kline denies the allegations set out by Ricci Davis, herein attached to State's Exhibit 4.
Yep, Tweedle mail.
What exactly is he supposed to do? Admit to it and think he's not going to get charged with something?
I'm just going to add here, at criminality, we don't find Keegan Kline credible. So, and then if I put that in the legal document, it's all said and done. Keegan Kline is a fucking liar, a proven liar, and I don't believe shit that he says. So, who cares?
Super weird, though, that he then admitted to the crimes he was charged with. Know what I mean?
Yes.
Super weird.
It's like Ricci Davis isn't credible, but here's the communications from Keegan Kline, who we now deem as the state is incredibly credible.
You know he redacted Plevin and Onion's names out of that. You know they messaged Keegan about all this. You know they did.
You know they did. Absolutely. Well, there's other people who did too. So, and then they went live about it.
Well, they'll say that Keegan Klein is nothing but a liar. So any comments that he made with regard to him or his father being involved is all it can all be just ignored because he's a liar. But then they say, see, he said that he never said that. He never had that.
Right.
He never even had that discussion. So we should believe that.
So stupid. Oh, Jesus. Further in these text communications, Keegan Klein states that Ricci Davis is an idiot. I've only talked to him maybe 2 times. He's one of those guys in prison that tries to write all the different prosecutors and get time cuts on people's cases. It's laughable. Ironic. He didn't actually ask for anything.
No, he didn't. And also, does he have proof that he's done that?
And by the way, everything that he's saying Keegan Klein said is hearsay.
Right.
There is no admissible evidence there.
He could have asked Keegan for a affidavit. Wonder why he didn't.
Because the guy's a fucking
Instead,
liar.
he just creepily stalked his mail. That's what he did to see if he was talking about it.
I feel like he misses the whole fucking point here, that it doesn't matter whether any of this is fucking credible. What matters is that he had an obligation to turn it over to the defense, whether he thought it was real or fake or bullshit or whatever. Like, none of that matters. I'm
with you. Preach it, Teresa. Preach it.
It's so frustrating to me that he just thinks that he's like the God Almighty that just gets to make the decision on what gets turned over and what doesn't. Like, I deemed it to be not credible, but here I'm going to go ahead and cite 3 different lines of why I think Keegan's telling the truth. Who my officers went on the stand and said he's a fucking liar. So it's just so irritating to me. He irritates me.
It's really strange when you consider
and this is all of a piece with what he was saying in his response to the motion to correct error, that basically that any evidence that the defense wanted to put on was merely impeaching of his substantive evidence. In other words, that, you know, the defense
is the only one that's credible. Didn't you know, Michael, that only the prosecutor tells the truth? They're the only ones that have the actual truthful evidence. Didn't you know this? And then the defense just twists that evidence to create reasonable doubt. And the prosecutor are the only ones who represent the evidence for what it truthfully really is. That's what I heard.
Hold on 1 second, guys. You guys keep talking. I'll be right back.
It almost just seems like he felt compelled to respond because of what she just said. And so he just threw this together, and it's just silly.
Well, I mean, you know, there's been a lot that's been silly in this case. I mean, how silly is simply, you know, without expert support saying geofencing is unreliable, and, you know, Gull buys it, and it's just, and when they were using geofencing in whole or in part to clear people. Yeah, it's so unreliable, we're clearing people with it.
I don't know why he hasn't had to, like, there's just so many things that I just don't understand why he hasn't had to answer for them. Like, whose job is it to make him answer for these things?
Well, kind of the defense's.
Well, that sucks, because I just feel like there's a lot of things he's not had to answer for. Yet we had a whole ass thing, not say anything, because, like, obviously we got you out of it, but, like, we had that whole side quest over them being held in contempt. But, like, I really was expecting at some point that they were going to, because it was clear that, like, they weren't allowed to do or say anything that had to do with Nick and his behavior, because they hadn't filed, like, a motion for him to be held in contempt. So I really thought that was going to come at some point for all the egregious shit that I've seen him do over and over again. And it just never did. And I guess they were trying to prioritize the trial, and I get that, but, like, when you get away with stuff, then you keep doing it.
Contempt is extreme. I mean, it's got to be a willful violation of an actual court order, and the court order has to be clear. And using crime scene photos that the court had ordered sealed at his request is, using them publicly. That's pretty directly in violation of a court order. But I don't know what else he's done that's actually in violation of a court order. And that's in fact what made his contempt information against Brad and Andy so weak, because there was no allegation of a willful violation of any order.
Yeah. I mean, she even thought it was weak, which is crazy because she was looking for a reason to hold them in contempt.
But he just does whatever he wants, and it doesn't matter. He says whatever he wants.
If she had held them in contempt and tried to remove them again, I mean, that would have been another original action. And frankly, I understand they were worried about Rick and they wanted to get him to trial. But frankly, when she denied the motion for summary denial of the contempt information, that should have been an original action. They should never have gone to that. They should never have gone to that. Had to go to that hearing.
That's crazy to me.
This whole case.
It has been crazy.
The legal side of this whole case is a fucking mess. It's like the craziest shit ever. All right, so let me see where we're at. Number 18, that as the court can see from State's Exhibit 1, Ricci Davis did send several letters to other attorneys, which adds credence to the statements that Keegan Kline made about Ricci Davis's behavior. Well, I don't know how that would work. We don't know what he was actually saying to any of the prosecutors, but okay. I guess because Keegan said it, and then there's letters, that means it's true. But yet he didn't. Ricci Davis didn't actually ask for any time off of anything. Number 19, the attorney, Andrew Baldwin, could have requested this information from the Department of Corrections to verify or debunk Ricci Davis's statements before he made his filing, but chose to file the motion without verifying the allegations. Well, you just verified for him that there are letters that you didn't give him, so he did a great job.
And he leaves out. So he leaves out something that's really important, and that is that the DOC. Nick McClelland is the state, so he can call up the DOC, and the DOC will give him that stuff.
The defense couldn't do that.
The defense has to file a third-party subpoena, probably. Maybe not, because it's the state. Maybe serve the DOC, serve the subpoena request on McClelland because he's the state. But if they have to do the third party thing, you've got to give the other side 14 days notice, and we don't have time for that.
But Baldwin literally just wrote Nick and said, "Hey, just let me know. Did you get these or not? This guy's saying he sent them. Did you get them or not?" And Nick's like, "I'm not gonna fucking tell you. Go take a hike." Like, I mean, he could have done things to verify it. He tried to verify it through Nick.
You're as usual, you cut straight to the chase, Teresa.
And Nick's like, "Well, you could have done other things. You didn't even have to."
I mean that without any irony.
Oh, well, thanks. I think. I don't know. It just frustrates me. Okay, so here we go. Where are we at? 20? That Attorney Baldwin, by his own admissions, interviewed Ricci Davis on March 27th of 2024. Okay, good job, Nick. Number 21, that attorney Andrew Baldwin had every opportunity before trial to depose Ricci Davis and had every opportunity to call him as a witness at any hearing or at the trial and chose not to. Yeah, well, he tried to call other inmates for hearings, and guess what? Gold just made it so they didn't have to show up. In fact,
and if he'd known about the Keegan Kline allegations, he might have done just that.
Nick doesn't see that far ahead, though. In fact, from James Winter's statements to this office, Andrew Baldwin had in fact subpoenaed Ricci Davis to testify at the trial for Richard Allen. Okay, dumbass. Why is he saying from James Winter's statements to this office? Everything that he asked, everything Baldwin asked for was in the motion. He asked for Ricci Davis, Keegan Klein, what's his name? James Haas. This is the first time I'd ever heard Ricci Davis's name. So why does he keep saying James Winter's statements to this office? It's irritating.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like he didn't know that they wanted to talk about these people, and then they were all talking about it for the third party. And then when she's like, I know everything there is to know about third party in the state of Indiana, and you guys suck at it. That attorney Andrew Baldwin now wants to present these statements from Ricci Davis as irrefutable proof without any evidence or corroboration to back up the statements. No, what he wants to say is you should have turned them over and you fucking didn't, Nick. That Ricci Davis's statements to attorney Andrew Baldwin do not match the statements that he made in the letters that he sent to the state. In those letters, how do we know that? You're not even showing the other letter. You don't even know you have no idea what was said on October 15th, according to yourself, because you can't find the letter. In those letters, he does not say Richard Allen is innocent or not involved. Quite the opposite. He says Richard Allen participated in the murders and is guilty. Once again, irrelevant. That evidence that contains allegations.
And Ricci did. Hang on, there's something interesting about that, and we'll get to the letters, and I'm interested to see what he actually says. But the fact that Ricci Davis says that Rick Allen was involved, that's not saying that he reports Keegan Klein saying or Ron Logan saying Rick Allen was involved. It's just Ricci. We'll see what the letters actually say.
Well, that's a good point. Yeah, he's saying that Ricci Davis is stating this. Instead of Ricci Davis saying, hey, I'm being told by these people, this is what's going on. That's a great point. That the evidence that contains allegations that the defendant is guilty with no proof of those allegations is not exculpatory evidence and therefore does not have to be turned over to the defense. These are not simply about Richard Allen. So I don't understand that again. I think we're going back to the same argument that we already made. They become exculpatory because there's other people being named in them. And it would have changed the estate's entire theory of the case. You wouldn't have been able to use it if the defense did bring it up, which I don't know if they would if Richard Allen's included in it, but doesn't matter because they didn't have the choice one way or the other because he kept the fucking evidence. That there is not a video interview of Ricci Davis that exists within discovery or is within the state's possession.
And that's really interesting because Ricci insists that he was videotaped. I mean, down to a specific conversation that when he came into the room, Hansard said to him, there was a camera set up on the table, and Hansard said to him, if you hadn't noticed, you're going to be videotaped. And look, it's possible. Who knows what Hansard did with the videotape? I have no idea. I have no idea whether just no idea what happened with that.
So I have a theory on this.
Mm-hmm.
Same as my theory for the polygraph is that, like, I think they tricked him. Like, I think they said, we're videotaping you. You'll get charged with perjury if you lie. We're going to go look into everything you say. But they weren't actually doing it. Just like I think they said they gave him a polygraph, and I don't think they did. And then they told him he failed miserably, and I don't think he did.
Okay, well, I have a question, and maybe it's just not that way at every prison, but this is the person who's conducting the interview with Ricci Davis is an investigator, not an attorney. Why isn't everything recorded in the prison?
If you're in a room talking to an inmate, like, it should be recorded.
Right, and even like
what would be recorded?
Go ahead.
No, I think what would be recorded would be, so they have cameras in the hallways. I don't know that they have cameras running all the time in interview rooms and things, but I mean, especially if Ricci's telling the truth and this camera was on the table, they weren't
One of them
relying on the
handheld.
prison. What?
Sounds like it was one of them handhelds.
Yeah, could be. And what there would be, but it probably doesn't exist now. What there would have been way back when would probably be camera footage from the hallway of Hansard going into the room, and you could see whether he had like video equipment or a big bag of equipment with him. I mean, apparently he had a polygraph machine with him as well.
Yeah, does he just carry that around all the time in case he decides to polygraph somebody?
Yeah, I don't know.
Is Hansard alive? I sent him an email. He didn't answer me.
He probably knows you. They're probably all warned.
I asked him to tell me just what the fuck his notes said. There was like 2 parts of it I said screenshots of. That atrocious handwriting.
So wait,
Yeah,
they hit
I mean,
record and then they just delete it when it's not necessary for their case.
I mean, who'd have thought that Hansard would make Ricci Davis's handwriting look good?
Yeah, I have never, like, they're like, send it to Nicole. She reads like doctor's handwriting all the time, and I'm like, yeah, dude, there's no way that like I'm not gonna know what this is. Like, I got most of it, but I mean that is the most atrocious thing I've ever seen. He should be embarrassed. It should be illegal to have handwriting that poor.
Okay, number 26. That even if this was evidence the defense wished to use at trial, it was not newly discovered evidence.
Yeah, it wasn't newly discovered. It was never discovered because we didn't have it.
Well, and not to mention, if he's saying it was happening at the time of trial, it's newly discovered to him.
I mean, he had to go looking for it. So what does he mean it's not? It's newly discovered apparently to everybody per him. Oh my God, all the capitals. Like, I will jump down from here just so I can get on my regular YouTube app so I can block you from this place. I cannot stand
Yeah,
all the
don't do all the capital letters because it's going to throw off the entire chat. And I mean, you can do it every once in a while, but if you constantly do it, it'll flag. The defense knew of Ricci Davis and had interviewed him and subpoenaed him for trial and chose not to present the evidence to the court. They didn't.
Well,
go ahead.
And the only thing the defense knew about was Ron Logan, for example. They had, before the letters, Ricci Davis in March didn't say anything to Andy about Keegan Kline. And I mean, the world changes. This is hard to get your head around, right?
Yeah, I can't. And I'd have to go back and double check, but I'm almost positive when Andy's writing it, he's saying what Ricci told him back in 2024 is not necessarily the same. He didn't give him all the information, and Ricci even says, "I didn't tell you everything."
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, number 27. Further, as the state has mentioned in previous responses, any information pertaining to Ron Logan or Keegan Kline falls under the state's motion in limine third-party motive. Oh my God, that's literally what I just said. Like, how are they supposed to do it? Why is he talking about having any of these people come to testify? Baldwin could have had any of these people come to testify. They could have all come to testify. But just FYI, they couldn't because the state, filed a motion in limine, making it so none of those people could testify. Ha 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 ha. What the fuck? Oh my God.
That one was perfect timing, that last one with your ha ha ha.
This is so ridiculous. Okay, so it falls under the state's motion in limine concerning third-party motive. The defense had 3 days to present evidence to meet their burden for third-party motive. They mentioned Ron Logan, but failed to meet their burden with the court. They chose not to present this evidence in the hearing because they didn't have the evidence to present in the
No,
hearing.
the logic is insane. I mean, it is just insane.
But the crazier part, Michael, is there are people who are going to read this and think that Nick is like, put him on a pedestal. He's like the best attorney ever, and how great he is, and how he gets in there that Ricci's an idiot, and how Andrew Baldwin's dumb, and all these things, and like, oh yeah, go Nick, and they think Nick is brilliant, and I'm reading this going, what the fuck are you even trying? What are you talking about? You just made 6 points on how the defense should have done this and that and the other, and that they didn't. So it's too bad, so sad. But oh, FYI, they couldn't. So oopsie. He's such a gaslighter, and people listen. I'm probably screaming. I'm sorry. I'm just getting this frustrates the shit out of me that people don't see this for what it really is.
Yeah, it's adding to the gas bill.
Gosh. Okay, the defense had 3 days. I already read that. The mentioned Ron Logan failed. They chose not to present this evidence at the hearing. This is so dumb. They also did not present this evidence when they renewed their motion during the trial. This now seems to be an effort by the defense to use this motion to circumvent their burden concerning third-party motive. No, you fucking idiot. It's a Brady violation. Nothing to do with that. That none of the evidence that the state has gathered from Ricci Davis is exculpatory, nor is it discovery.
Yeah, it's go figure. I mean, you really can't make this stuff up, except he does.
Does he really believe that? Does he really believe that he gets to just sit there and decide that somebody telling them about a confession that's somewhat, okay, that's, even if it doesn't all match, that somewhat matches the prosecution's theory of the case, because that's what they did with Richard Allen. It's all words. It's all just words. Richard Allen says, I did this. Wait, I didn't do this. I started World War III. I did all these other random things. I cheated on my cigarettes. I did all this stuff. But that's all included because Nick says so. Even though it's obviously not credible, we say in the public, okay, well, it's credible. He confessed to this. Oh, he confessed to that. But all these other people come in and confess, and it's like, oh, sorry, those aren't credible, even though we have no idea whether they are or not. And since we decide as the state that it's not credible, that it becomes not exculpatory, and so it becomes not discovery because I said so.
Yeah. Your logic is unassailable.
Like, I want that to be the end of this, like where he says at the bottom, like, this is all because I said so. Thank you for reading. Like, that's how I feel at the end, that this should just sign. Like, Nick said so. Yeah. Everybody walk away.
I affirm under penalty for perjury that the above statements are true because I said so.
Because I said so. Exactly. Because I said so. That's like the new line. Number 29. This motion seems yet another attempt by attorney Andrew Baldwin to push a certain narrative to the public. You are an idiot. Specifically, the online world. He seems to file these types of motions with very bold allegations that he neither verifies the information nor does he present any evidence to back up the statements. That is unfortunate that motions by the defense in this case have come to the point where they present statements from an inmate as fact without any legal or evidentiary support. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. They present statements from an inmate as fact without any legal or evidentiary support.
Oh, like Rick?
Like Rick Allen, the defendant in your case?
Look, the legal support for it is that the confessions are admissible evidence It's statements against interest. They're admissible through Ricci Davis. So, it's, that's the legal justification. Get me past, you want to get to the facts? The 2017, cut an artery, box cutter. I mean, I'm sorry. It's just, you're right. I mean, I don't know that there's any, look, it's not to offend anybody in your chat, but it's Trump world. It's Trump world. If we say it, it's true. If we say it often enough, it's true. And it's it's the environment we live in, and he seems to have succumbed to it.
I'm just disappointed. I'm disappointed that this is even happening. Just like, I don't even know how else to say it. Like, the whole thing, it's just as disappointing that nobody will ever know the truth behind any of it, because Nick just gaslights the shit out of everybody, and people just go, yes, Nick, because you said so, you must be right. And this kind of shit where he says like statements from an inmate as fact without any legal or evidentiary support, and that becomes like a fact across social media. And the bullshit of that he's doing this narrative, he wants to create this narrative to the public. Like, look in the freaking mirror, Nick. This has been your narrative for years, and you keep trying to push it to the public. And people are just going to be like, oh my God, Ricci Davis, nobody believes him, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I don't give a shit if people believe him. Why do people just think it's okay that the prosecutor just can keep whatever evidence they want and say, sorry, I thought it wasn't credible, so I just didn't give it to you. Yeah, let that be you. Let that be you, that the prosecutor doesn't just turn over everything and let you figure out what's relevant and not relevant to your defense that's going to cost you 130 years in prison. That you have one guy that sits there and just says, I'm sorry, I get to make all the decisions and it doesn't match my theory of the case, so fuck you, nana nana boo boo, you get to sit in prison for 130 years, and I don't actually give a shit if you actually did the crime or not. That's scary. It's disappointing that this is even something that happens, but it's fucking scary.
Yeah. No, this has been that's why that's why I'm here.
I know. I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for people that fight like you. I really am. It's just and then people, I want to make this clear, because people are like, well, it doesn't matter because he did it. Like, people who think he's guilty are like, it doesn't matter because he did it, so we don't really give a shit what happens. But it's like, this is what happens no matter whether the people did it or not. And you can't actually know whether they did it or not, because nobody will show you all the evidence one way or the other. So you like have blind faith because you want to, instead of it actually being proven to you, which is his constitutional rights are to have it proven. And they're not proving it because they won't even turn over the evidence.
I almost jumped out of my skin listening to the tweetles about Glossip and how he's, probably guilty, but it's a death penalty, so he deserves a fair trial.
Because it's the death penalty?
That's 130 years, you don't get a fair trial. Rick Allen is guilty, one of the tweetles says, basically judge and jury at the end of some episode. But in the episode released today, they're talking about this Glossip case, death penalty case that the Supreme Court undid. And, they're doing their little assessment of whether he's guilty or not. But, the important thing, because there's so much at stake, is a fair trial. It's like, okay, 130 years is there's not enough at stake there for a fair trial, but there is in this. And there's a glossip pleading coming, I'm pretty sure, in Rick's case.
All right, so should we read these letters?
If you can.
Okay, let's see if I can. My name is Ricci Davis. I am incarcerated at the Newcastle Correctional Facility. I wasn't comfortable writing for fear of not being taken seriously. However, this has to be heard. There are several aspects that at first may seem all over the place. However, if I don't explain it all, you'll get confused, so forgive me. I'll do my best here. Back some years ago, a man named Ron Logan came here to Newcastle, and I had daily conversations with him, and a lot of things he opened up about made my ex-girlfriend contact the FBI, trying to do the right thing, to say the least. Fast forward until now, today. There also has been another guy who was transferred here from another prison back in early March of 2024 by the name of Keegan Kline. For the last 6 months, he seemed to need a friend and quickly, very recklessly, began to talk of beating the system. And I'm glad it is Richard Allen who is catch up. And I'm glad it was Richard Allen who is catch up. However, feared he would run his mouth. Was caught up. However, he feared he would run his mouth. Okay, so Keegan Kline is glad that Richard Allen is arrested, but feared he would run his mouth. Note, I am in a protective custody unit with 98% child molesters, and trust me, the people speak and brag on their cases, and it is a cool thing. I am here on drug charges. However, Keegan Kline assumed I must have a sex case and began talking, and I slowly took information as he appeared to build trust with me. Oddly, since an earlier report by my ex-girlfriend was made regarding Ron Logan, Mr. Logan, out of nowhere, this lawyer pops up to visit me, Richard Allen's lawyer, Baldwin or something, wanting to know if I would come testify on Richard Allen's behalf regarding Logan. I told him no, because I already planned on contacting you, knowing the information to do with Kline. I never told him about Kline, because the information involved Richard Allen, Keegan Kline, and Ron Logan, although he has now passed, as you know. I will now explain what Kline has told me, and I'll share the evidence he informed me of, so you see I'm doing this in good faith. Keegan told me him and his dad were working a hustle from this back page, making big money from child images. Every 6 months, they bought burner phones for clients, and Richard Allen and Logan were two of them and received new phones from Keegan. From what I was told, they'd done a lot of trading too. I am told they all had their hands in this murder and feels relieved someone has the fall who isn't going to talk. This Allen guy sold a firearm to Keegan for these burner phones he supplied. Keegan somehow had the Abby girl victim take pictures of herself and traded them between the three, Allen, Keegan, and Logan. Richard Allen set up meeting the girls with Logan. However, they met at Logan's home drinking. Logan and Keegan met up with the girls as Allen was at the farm. Keegan had the firearm, and Logan had a carpet knife to scare the girls. They walked the girls back to the house where Allen waited. I was unsure about the story being a lot of details. However, I pretended interested over time. Here are some details only the killers would know, and make yourself so you can weigh the information out. He informed me him and Allen moved the bodies 3 times. and they were not killers, or they were not killed where the girls were found. He said they staged the scene, whatever that means. The youngest girl was kept alive longer, and Alan didn't want to kill her, but Keegan made him because it was too late. He said they all got nervous leaving town in their own cars out to Lafayette to get rid of the evidence. I honestly don't see him making all this up. However, if it appears he did for some sick reason, just dismiss this letter. If by chance it seems to meet the evidence you are dealing with, you are welcome to come speak with me. To be honest, I'm only comfortable speaking with you for the moment. Please understand, as the snitch label is real in prison. However, I will talk to you for the time being. And then he says, P.S. I also saved a note from Keegan. He wrote on lockdown that don't say a lot, but he talks a little in it, well, somewhat. If you want to see it, let me know. All right. Take care. Sincerely yours. That's interesting. Okay.
But go back up there. I mean, does he say Keegan Klein said that Rick Allen was there? I mean, or does he say that Logan said he was there? I just kind of missed that. Who does he say? Who does he say implicates Rick?
I'm pretty sure it's Keegan, the way I understand it. I'll now explain what Klein has told me, and I'll share the evidence he informed me of. So you see what I'm doing. This is in good faith. Let me go back up and just verify that. I don't think he says Ron Logan.
Is there another? There's another one, isn't there?
There's another letter still, yeah. But I'm pretty sure and Keegan Klein told him that the three of them did it.
I'm pretty sure this whole thing is after he had a discussion with Keegan. So I would say that all of his allegations are what he said that Keegan told him.
Right, because it seems that he'd already told him all the stuff that Ron had told him, and now he's saying, right, hey, Ron told me all of this, and now this Keegan guy is here, and he's telling me this stuff that somewhat matches what Ron Logan told me. So this is a carpet knife. Yeah, carpet knife. That's an interesting choice right there of wording. Okay, so this is the other letter. So that one was the October 4th. I think it's October 4th. And then there's a middle letter that we don't have. And then there's this letter. So this is the third letter according to Nick. Okay, so did you get my message, Sleuthy, by chance, in the private chat?
Oh, no.
Dear Mr. McClelland, if you will look back on record, the same information now being released, the evidence I reported that the girls were cut up and their throats cut back in 2018. I reported the girls were moved and hidden in a barn and drove around until the search started. I reported that Mr. Logan left town leaving the girls with two others until he got back because Logan got nervous. Recently, as I priorly wrote, I learned now the last 5 months who else were involved. You have one now and Keegan Klein. If I even had 5 minutes to explain, you would see they all three are involved. I offered the detective who came to see me in 2018 just to put a wire on me and let them conclude for themselves what all Logan was saying. McClelland, they declined the offer, which made no sense when it was a perfect opportunity, as it was a perfect investigation tool for two reasons. First, it would provide the information from the source, and to eliminate misinformation, as the reality of trusting an inmate's credibility is within danger zone. I get it. The problem was the detective and the examiner come with the mindset of not willing to believe me before I ever spoke. I have a disability of Tourette's syndrome, as it provokes my nervous system. I take several medications for treatment, and they gave me no chance to explain these facts. That is the reason I just simply offered to just put a wire on and allow it to be recorded. Fast forward, I was visited by an attorney, Andrew Baldwin, who was representing Richard Allen about 2.5 months ago. I didn't know who he was. However, he stated he was investigation past reports, and my name came up. He informed me that the information I gave in 2017 lined with the actual evidence of the murder scene. He asked if I would come to testify at this trial. I told him no, and the reason was knowing his client, Keegan Kline, and Ron Logan were all involved. Long story short, I wasn't going to help because I was planning on reporting the information to your office. Mr. McClelland, this ignorant lawyer, was hinting me to lie for him and his client, saying that I should know how it is. Please hear me out. No, I can never relate to child killers. I don't know what planet this attorney is on. It felt insulting in a way. He indicated this occult issue. He is far from right because Kline told me they staged the scene because Ron knew they were coming
Wait,
after
this
him.
what? A cult issue?
Occult issue.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
That he knew it was wrong because Kline told me they staged the scene because Ron Logan knew they were coming after him, because by the time they were killed, the police was everywhere and through the night, and there was no way to get the girls out of the area. I hope that we can speak because although Logan has passed away, the other two need to face the consequences. I've been afraid that I'm not taken serious and Keegan will somehow get off and not see his day in court. I pray while wholeheartedly you'll allow me to explain everything so you can compare the information to validate. I don't expect to be believed. However, you compare the information. Thank you. And as I promised, I would send the note Keegan wrote, and I'll send it with this. Take care. Where's the note?
He'll send what Keegan wrote.
Yeah, Keegan, in the other letter, he told him that. Wait a minute. Hold on. He said, he told him, I also saved a note from Keegan that he wrote on lockdown that don't say a lot, but he talks a little in it. Well, something, if you want to see it, let me know. So he doesn't promise to send it. Maybe it's in the middle letter that we don't have, because then he says, I promised I would send it, but he did not promise that. In the first letter, he just says, hey, if you want it, let me know.
And I'm assuming you never heard back from McClelland, so.
Right, that's my whole thing. So then, but where's the note? He says he's sending it with this letter. So
Would it surprise you that he didn't include that? Nick, I mean?
no.
So.
It doesn't say a lot. He talks a little bit in it. Well, something. Well, somewhat. Well, somewhat. If you want to see it, let me know. Okay. Well, I'll leave it up to you guys. I have to leave to go pick up my daughter from gymnastics. Sleuthy and Michael can take over while I'm gone, or we can wrap it up if you guys want to do it that way. It's up to you guys. If you guys have more you guys want to talk about, I mean, I can talk about this a lot. So it's really up to you guys. They can take over while I'm gone. And there's another exhibit, but I'm pretty sure it's just more.
The other exhibit is the
communications.
emails from between emails to Ricci Davis from the murder sheet. I'm sorry, to Keegan Kline.
Oh, okay.
where he says
I
that
mean, not from. I'm sorry, from the murder sheet to Keegan Klein. Don't want to get caught misreporting something.
You're gonna okay, hold on. You're gonna do a live at 10 R&M. Is that like in 10, 13 minutes?
15 minutes. Yes, if it's her
Because
time.
if that's the case, I'll just wrap this and send everybody to your live, and then you guys can discuss everything that we just read through. I can do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
13
Okay.
minutes.
Perfect. We'll just do that then. I'll redirect everybody over to R&M, and you guys can go there and discuss everything that we just read through. And then I'll come over there and chat when I'm back, so I can give my opinions on everything. I think that works out perfect. Good job, R&M.
She did say she was going live like hours ago, so she probably was waiting anyway.
She was probably just waiting for her puffy lips to go back down.
They really didn't look bad. I didn't want to say because, like, I know it's traumatic and stuff, but like, she said she sent a picture, and I was like, they don't even look bad. Like, I would be trying to recreate it, but just like not in a scary way.
Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to end this, and it's going to reroute you guys straight over to R&M's. Maybe she'll start a few minutes early because I'm going to take off. Michael, Sleuthy, thank you guys as always. Michael, you apparently sent me a message that I did not see, so I'm going to respond to that message when I get back. I don't know how I missed it, but I apparently missed it. So I'll respond to that when I get back. And so I'll see you guys over at R&M in about. I'll probably be there in about a half hour, but.
Okie dokie.
All right. Love you guys. Thank you guys for hanging out and going through all the craziness of the day. Delphi Friday. Swear.
I just sent to Bob. He's going to lose his shit. He was already losing his shit about the Karen Reed stuff.
Yeah, which I still have to read through. So I haven't even done that yet. Okay, I'll see you guys in a little bit. Thank you guys for hanging out. Go enjoy your weekend. I will not be live this weekend. We have gymnastics competitions. And so I will do I know. So it's competition season, so we got to do what we got to do. So I will see you guys around the YouTube streets, and I'll see you guys over at R&M in just a little bit. Love you. Thank you. As always, I know you guys have 1,000 other places you can spend your time, and you still choose to spend your time here hanging out with us. And I thank you for it.
Michael says thank you. He's not as loud as we are.
Yeah. Thanks, and thanks to your audience for like suffering through my repeating myself.
Oh, bullshit. They love hearing from you.
Michael, you need to go see what I'm saying. Go deal with my.
Okay. I'll talk to you guys later. Okay. I'll see you in a bit. Bye.
Love you. Bye.
Love you.
Do you dare to follow me down? Head into the unknown. Down the rabbit hole. Where it stops, no one knows. We're going Do you dare to follow me down? Head into the unknown.